I love technology. I especially love like everything about it. I love laptops. I love PCs. I love ranting about which brand is better. I guess technology has always been a thing I loved since I was a fetus. I remember when I was introduced to a laptop for the very first time back in 2010. We had an old gray Dell laptop that ran Windows XP, and all I played on there was Starfall and ABC Arcade. What you know about that website? So, in elementary school, every now and then we would go into the technology room, and I would be amazed by all the PCs they had. Wow, an old PC that ran Windows 95? Holy shit! I would go on any website I could think of, from YouTube to Google Maps to Starfall, of course ABC Arcade, to even doing weird things like searching up my name to see if I see any creepy things on me on Google Images. I don't know, I've always been an egotistical type of guy that would search up my own name on Google. I still do this to this day in some small way, especially since now I'm a YouTuber. But that's off topic. Starting in 2015, they started to do a revolution. They started to give us our own personal laptops. I started freaking the fuck out because I've always wanted a laptop to call my own. I absolutely loved that idea, and when we got it, I hated it. They were extremely slow, had pre-installed educational software about typing on the keyboard, and majority of the websites that I loved going on to were blocked by the administrator. I hated it. But I won't lie, the educational software they had was pretty fire. There was one in which we were a secret agent and we had to stop world domination by typing the right things on the keyboard. And we had to put our hands literally on the keyboard with like little four fingers on the keyboard, but I always hated that. I always type like a grandma. I do one key at a time. And for some reason it works. People say I'm a freak for doing that, but I love it. The second pre-installed software we had was very bizarre. Whenever we go on it, all the games that was there was randomized. Every time we logged on, it was always a different game. And there was one specific one that I remember that was so bizarre. It was teaching us the vowels of A, E, I, O, and U. But the way they taught it was in a song. And the song was so weird. And it repeated the same lyrics. I like to eat apples and bananas. But as the song progressed, they started doing apples and bananos, apples and baninis, apples and bananas, apples and banunus. It's weird. Another thing that was weird was that the game had a mascot, and the mascot was like this creepy 3D brown raccoon. It was so creepy. And the game, every time you logged onto it, it chose a random student, and whoever the student was chosen got to have the privilege to play the games. And that I bet that kid felt all proud and everything. I only had the privilege to play the games one time. Fast forward to 4th grade, and this is when things started to get interesting. Our laptops got upgraded to these laptops in which you can take off the screen and fold it. I was mind-fucked by this. I was like, oh my god, we're in the future. They ditched the pre-installed educational apps, and we started focusing more on online websites. We were introduced to websites such as Fun for the Brain, Multiplication.com, Soft School, God I love Soft School, and there was a popular Cool Maths, rest in peace, for that is now blocked by the administrator nowadays. I'll be honest for a second, these are one of my favorite school websites, period. There will be times in which I am so bored that I start playing these unironically. Like, they were just so fun to play with, especially Fun for the Brain, in which all the games were combined in this one math universe in which you walk around town, and each building went to a different game. It was a pretty cool idea. And I remember on multiplication.com, all the games were duplicates, but nevertheless they were so fun. There was just one game I remember, which you're an ice cream cone seller. We got in full circle. And you have to sell cone to penguins, but you have to get the multiplication question right in order to sell the correct flavor that they want. But in 6th grade we were given one more pre-installed educational app. But in my opinion, this was the greatest thing that we've ever gotten. It was a math game called Prodigy. You had your own personal account, and it was this whole RPG adventure in which you had to level up your guy, and in order to level up, you have to answer math questions, and you have to defeat enemies, bosses, and everything. I don't know what it was, but it was a whole entire story. It was just so fun, and it got to the point which we started playing this unironically outside the school. And we started playing with each other and debating who was the strongest. Nowadays, I have a Prodigy account to call my own outside of school, and I use it every now and then in case I'm bored, because that still remains the greatest school thing that I've ever used. It was amazing. Unfortunately, by 7th grade, all the hype for school laptops has finally died down. When we were given our laptops in 7th grade, they took out most of the fun shit away and instead gave us Edmentum and Study Island. These things are one of the many banes of my existence. There was little to no games at all on Study Island, and if I so happened to answer questions too fast, they reported it to the teacher, and the teacher would interrogate me almost all the time. I hated it. And the worst part of all, they blocked even more websites. YouTube even. So I was like, how the hell are we supposed to have fun with these laptops now? These laptops feel like homework now. And at one point I decided enough was enough. I started to learn how to override the administrator. For safety purposes, I am not going to explain how I did it. Stay in school, kids, and do your work. Do not disobey the teacher like how I did. But at one point, I started using nifty shit like the command prompt, advanced startup options, and some YouTube watching on my phone. And when it was all said and done, I finally managed to unblock websites. Kind of. The first start, it was very rocky. In the middle of my hacking, quote-unquote hacking skills, the laptop had a stroke and started doing beeps that were so loud the teacher had to come up to my desk and questioned what I was doing. I just told her that the thing had a kernel panic, and she somehow believed me, probably because she doesn't know what kernel panic means, but I do. But after a hard reset, it worked. I got scared that I thought that she was going to take away my laptop and I was going to report my technology misconduct to the principal. But she didn't because she was a nice teacher. I give her props to that. Shout out to her. But the second time I did it, it worked without any loud beeping whatsoever. I don't know what happened the first time, but when I tried doing this the second time, it just worked. And I started unblocking some websites, and I guess other people around the school started finding out how to do this because by the time the last day of school came, almost everyone started playing unblocked websites and started going on YouTube, Netflix, and many other shit. And I think the administrators caught on to us because by high school, the laptops were starting to be moderated by many extensions. And the extensions also blocked websites like Discord. As of right now, I'm perfectly fine with the school laptops I got, but if I had the chance, I would always bring my own personal laptop to school. But I can't do that since the Wi-Fi at high school is unusable by anyone for some stupid reason. And despite all the cringy moments I've had with these laptops that I've used over the past 10 years, I really enjoyed the experience I had overall, and I would love to do it all over again. And I honestly loved all the school websites that I was introduced to, even though playing them in front of society nowadays is frowned upon. I don't fucking care. I love these websites. But I think that's going to be another video. So, thank you guys for watching, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned because visits to come. And I'm sorry for not uploading a video for 2 weeks. A lot of shit happened. But I should be back to the swing of things. Goodbye.